My name is Shaiar Ismaili. I am an instructor and researcher of oriental massages. Today we're going to review together the etiquette and professional principles of oriental massages. Before we get into the topic of etiquette, let me share a brief background, one or two introductory points, so that the concepts and definitions we're going to cover become clear to us. When oriental massage is mentioned, what exactly do we mean? Around 2007, my wife, Mrs. Zaymaran, and I went to Thailand and completed massage courses. And after we came back, there was some sensitivity toward Thailand in our country. So we couldn't really present it openly in many places, many offices and organizations, that we had brought Thai massage and wanted to develop it. So at that time we changed the name. We called it oriental massage, which actually wasn't wrong. Because this massage, Thai massage, the style we introduced in our country, wasn't exclusive to Thailand. It was being practiced in India, China, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, Bhutan, and throughout the countries of that region, with some differences, 10, 15, 20% from one country to another. But the overall style was the same, because Thailand had invested a lot in tourism and heavily promoted this massage so that tourists would come and receive services. It ended up being associated with Thailand and became known worldwide as Thai massage, and still is. But we presented it as oriental massage, which in fact covered that whole region. Even Iran used to be so vast in the past that at certain periods it extended to India. So these massages were at one time practiced in Iran as well. So by the word oriental, we mean massages that in that region and that part of the world are practiced, have flourished, and have widely spread. Now, if we talk about oriental massages, then what does Western massages mean in comparison? And if a massage is named oriental, surely we can also speak of massages called Western. If we want to describe the differences between these two types of massages, I can even make the naming a bit more precise. That is, refine it. By oriental massage, we mean traditional massages. In other words, massages that have been practiced since ancient times. This could have been in Thailand, or in the country of Iran, or in the nation of India, or in the vast continent of Africa, or in the diverse regions of Europe, or say among the numerous and distinct Native American tribes, indigenous peoples, whatever term you prefer. It truly doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. What we mean are massages with a long history coming from the past, and that is our point, traditional massages. Western massages we can refer to as modern massages, or even call them classical massages. These are massages that have truly taken shape and developed in the modern world as we know it today, and grew and developed. When I lay out their differences, it will become a bit clearer. Well, the first difference between these two types of massages is what was just mentioned, namely their antiquity. Traditional massages, oriental massages, go back several thousand years. For example, traditional Thai massage has a history of 2,500 to 3,000 years. Foot massage, whose base and roots are Chinese, is nearly 5,000 to 6,000 years old. Where is this antiquity established? In writings on papyrus that have been age dated and whose age determined, showing that a given papyrus, which describes foot massage techniques and explains foot massage points, dates back about 5,000 years. There are also statues in Thailand and in other Southeast Asian countries, stone statues that depict massage techniques, and they have been dated to some 2,500, 3,000 years old. On the walls, intricate drawings have been carefully made and preserved over time. Temple walls, various walls, these drawings depict massage techniques, massage lines, and annotate massage points, and they've been dated to several thousand years ago. As for the massages that existed in Iran itself, they have a history of 1 to 1.5 millennia. But modern massages, as we understand them today, are those whose history doesn't truly exceed about 170 to 180 years, or at most a full 200 years if we round it. These contemporary forms of massage therapy emerged within these 2 centuries, building upon various significant developments. So the very first and most significant difference between them lies in their extensive history and their respective ages. Following this, the second crucial difference is their fundamental origin, specifically how they initially came into being and developed over time. For instance, Western modern massages, which are widely practiced today, were devised by physicians, specialists, based on human anatomy and physiology, who meticulously created comprehensive sets of techniques, thoughtfully saying, this particular technique is exceptionally helpful with this specific issue, and this precise movement is remarkably good for addressing that particular problem. These techniques are fully defined according to anatomy and physiology, grounded in science and knowledge, but Oriental massages did not originate this way. Because of their great antiquity, spanning thousands of years, they arose somewhere through certain individuals, not necessarily on the basis of anatomy and physiology. They emerged from a profound sense, a deep feeling, and even a sudden inspiration, and were meticulously refined over a considerable period of time. Indeed, one dedicated person might have diligently spent an entire lifetime improving these techniques, dedicating time, keeping what worked, and removing what was harmful, damaging, or uncomfortable. Then the next generation, the students of that person or of those people, again devoted time refining and optimizing. Then the next generation of students came, since for thousands of years there has been the opportunity for successive generations to take this massage, elevate it, optimize it, improve it, fine-tune it, until it eventually became precisely what has successfully reached us at this present moment in time, what we have in our hands today. So one might ask, is it inherently a detrimental or negative aspect that these long-standing traditional forms of massage therapy were not originally established or founded upon rigorous scientific principles when they first began to take shape and develop? Not everything is science. Our scientific knowledge is still very, very, very incomplete compared to what exists in the universe. Let me give you an example. For example, we have a stomach ache. Grandfather, grandmother, the elders say, have some of my special herbal tea. Depending on our condition, they go a bit by feel. Drink some of my special herbal tea. You'll feel better. We drink the special herbal tea and we do feel better. Assuming we did feel better, does it matter that it didn't have a scientific basis? That special herbal tea they gave us, prescribed by our grandfather, no, there's nothing wrong with that. By experience, this elder who has that experience and suggested it to us knew that in circumstances where, for example, we've eaten some seafood or whatever, that special herbal tea soothes the problem and it gets better. Even if we don't know the scientific rationale, and even if the person who told us doesn't know it, nor those before them. In fact, one of the things science does, besides inventions and discoveries, one of its tasks is, and it is doing this, to take things that have been done traditionally, done experientially, practiced, and bring them into a scientific framework, to run scientific experiments, to research and examine them, to uncover the reasons why. That is, it investigates, for example, that special herbal tea itself. What is in that tea? What effect it has, and under what conditions it helps a stomachache to ease. In other words, it finds scientific reasons for what was being done. It identifies them. So science can greatly help tradition by optimizing it, not by rejecting it. Because what worked works. So this is not a matter of good or bad. The point is that experience is also a very powerful origin. In some situations this works better, in other situations that works better, meaning it's not about declaring one good and the other bad. No, each has its own place. Let me point out another difference between traditional or oriental massages and modern or Western massages, namely that Western massage techniques are generally meticulous and precise in their application, whereas traditional Oriental massages, in contrast, are generally holistic. What exactly does that truly mean? Allow me to fully unpack this concept for you. With an example to make it clear, let's compare between modern Western medicine, allopathy, and traditional medicine, traditional medicine, which is based on its fundamental underlying philosophy and distinctive way of thinking and its approach to health and well-being. It says we should view the human body as a whole, consider it as such, and bring the whole body into balance so that when the whole is balanced, its issues improve or are resolved. The problems that arose due to imbalance in that body. Modern medicine, on the other hand, looks more specifically, meaning if a person has a headache, they go to a head specialist, the neurologist, for instance, and exclusively the focus is on that headache. If the person has an issue, for example, knee pain, they'll go to an orthopedist to address various joint and bone problems and issues affecting overall skeletal health. If there's a digestive issue, a stomach problem, they go to a gastroenterologist to examine and resolve those issues. Even physicians themselves usually refer patients on, meaning if we go to a neurologist about our headache, and then we also want to mention our significant knee pain, which has been a persistent issue for quite some time. As long as it's not related to the scope of our headache, whatever the issue is, will be referred to the appropriate specialist. So we can go to that field, get a consultation, and be treated. Why? Because these branches of science have expanded so much and become so vast that one might say a single lifetime is not enough to enter and become proficient in all fields. So specialization has emerged here. Whereas when we go to a traditional medicine physician, that physician looks at headache, knee pain, digestive problems, all of them together, and evaluates them and sees all of these as resulting from an imbalance in the body or two imbalances. That part is specialized. We won't get into it. And they try to bring the body, its humors and temperaments, back into balance so that the significant problems that have indeed resulted from that very considerable imbalance can be eliminated. Well, again, the question comes up, is that bad or is it good? It's not about good or bad. Each has its own place. For example, if someone has been in an accident, just as an example, and is bleeding, if we take him to traditional medicine there, it usually can't, speaking generally, not dealing with exceptions, it can't right then address, say, a brain hemorrhage and fix it, nor can it set a fracture at that moment, because it aims to work on imbalances in the body. That is, traditional medicine is a way of life, a lifestyle. It addresses people's lifestyle, the way they live, so that they can reach health. But at the moment of an accident, when something has happened and there is an injury, they must go to modern medicine to get the necessary treatment. It is not the place for traditional medicine at all. There are specialists, the appropriate machines, the equipment, all of these come together so that the problem, the accident and the resulting injury can be resolved. So that is exactly where it belongs. But there's another point. These days our society is really struggling. There are various issues, for example. We see all kinds of headaches. Many people have fatty liver problems, such as various digestive issues, including discomfort and chronic constipation, are indeed very common among many individuals. These are matters that go back to lifestyle, to the way we live. In fact, traditional medicine works very well for such cases because its main expertise is precisely here, how we should live. And how to live isn't just about what we eat, it's how we sleep, when we sleep, where we sleep, what exercises we do, what activities we engage in, what foods we eat, what we drink, what our recreations look like. Traditional medicine even addresses these areas. That is, it recommends a lifestyle suited to our body for us to follow. And naturally, doing these things takes time. For example, if I have a headache, modern medicine gives a pill and my headache goes away. If I go to traditional medicine, it might take months, maybe a month, maybe more, until my headache is both root-caused and worked on to move it toward a cure. Why? Because gradually we change our lifestyle. Bit by bit, we adjust our habits and shape them into what suits our body. So again, it's really not about good or bad. For each issue that we encounter, we see in our analysis, a particular specialty works better in its own domain. I gave that long example to bring us to this point. Between Oriental traditional massage and modern Western massage, which is good and which is bad. It isn't about good or bad. Each has its own functions. For example, sports massage, which is derived from Swedish massage, is a Western massage. A massage that is precisely designed on the basis of anatomy, muscles, tendons, nerve, and all such elements to define which techniques should be applied so that, for example, an athlete is prepared for competition depending on the sport. Or techniques are built in so that if an athlete is injured during sport, the injury's persistence is minimized, pain is relieved, and the person can return to competition, to sport, and to normal life. There one must take a part-focused view. That is, if a problem has arisen, say in the knee, naturally you have to work on the knee region, on the relevant muscles, the relevant nerves, the relevant tendons. These must be addressed and techniques applied to those points. You can't, for example, for instance, work on the shoulder blade to try to heal the knee, because in a specialized approach, the work is done on that specific part. Conversely, oriental massages are like that same traditional medicine. They don't take a localized view of the work. They regard the body as a whole and hold that with our massages. We move the body toward balance. When we move the whole body toward balance, issues that arise from imbalance, note, not every issue. For example, if my tooth is infected and hurts, naturally this can't address that. Issues that stem from imbalance tend to move toward getting better. So the main goal of oriental massages, particularly Thai massage, which is the subject of the courses you take at Golden Rama Spa, is to bring the body into balance, to view it as a whole. Now, it may also focus locally to some extent. For example, the knee pain I mentioned, if a knee hurts, perhaps more work is done on the knee. But that doesn't mean only the knee is treated. That is, in oriental massages, the entire body is massaged. The whole body is worked on to reach balance, while allocating more time to the knee. Meaning if, say, 5 minutes were planned for the knee, we'll spend 10 minutes on the knee, but it does not mean only the knee is treated, because the knee is not separate from the body. All parts of the body must come into balance. All right, I've covered these general points so that we can now get to etiquette and see what the etiquette of oriental massage is. At Golden Rama Spa, you will exclusively learn Thai massages taught by myself, Mrs. Zaimaran, or other instructors. Although courses in Western massage, Swedish massage, sports massage, and the like will also, upon request, be added to the platform schedule over time, meaning you can get familiar with those as well and develop expertise. Overall, if we consider the vast and intricate field of medicine, it is important to recognize that traditional medicine, a deeply rooted and historically significant practice, encompasses 4 broad, distinct, and fundamental domains. The first of these crucial domains is medicinal herbs. Natural herbal remedies, traditional, things we may have heard of here and there, like borage tea, mint distillate, and others, items we're familiar with, as well as much more specialized substances used within the scope of traditional physicians' work, which they employ. In the traditional medical system, these medicinal plants are used to restore balance to the body. The second area comprises medical procedures. Procedures such as venesection, bloodletting, cupping, hijama, and leech therapy, and various practices that are performed so that a person can reach the improvement that is needed or that the physician has in mind. Another domain which has become somewhat rarer now is traditional midwifery. It teaches how, by traditional methods, to help a woman in labor to give birth to her baby, how to ensure the well-being of the baby in the womb and its healthy development, assumes a proper position, and how to address the mother's pains and problems. And even now in certain regions that are very, very far off indeed, this is still quite a common occurrence. The midwife is present and people seek her help for delivery and during pregnancy. This has been and still is one branch of traditional medicine. And finally, massage. Massage is one of the branches of traditional medicine. That is, in old books, in manuscripts, in references, in sources, massage techniques have been described, specifically by masters of traditional medicine, Avicenna and Giorgiani, who recorded and compiled them and passed them on to later generations. So they weren't referred to as massage at the time. In Iranian medical literature, they appeared under the names dauk and gams, rubbing and pressing. So if we don't wish to treat massage as something independent and prefer to classify it as a subset of a broader body of knowledge, then massage falls squarely under traditional or complementary medicine. Oriental massages, as I said, have roots going back thousands of years, reaching even into ancient Iran. Indeed, if you look at the techniques of the old bathhouse masseurs, dalaks, you'll see how similar they are to the techniques of Thai massage that are practiced today. these similarities show that they all share common roots. Exactly. So up to this point, we have given a brief preface so that in essence, we can proceed with the main discussion. We can talk about the etiquette of oriental massages. Note that what we're presenting today in this course relates exclusively to the classes and practical sessions you take at Golden Rama Spa that you attend. We don't intend to generalize the points we raised today to all massages in the world, because each style of massage can have its own etiquette, its own working methods, its own practical prohibitions and limitations. We can look specifically at the work you're going to carry out in practice and cover the theory together. Well, there is etiquette to it. Every job has etiquette, not just ours. If the proper etiquette of a particular job is carefully observed, there's a very high chance that work will be successful. If the professional etiquette of a craft, of a job is not observed, there's a good chance that work will go unsuccessfully. Let's see what the professional etiquette looks like in massage. Before I talk specifically about massage, let me make a point. People in third world countries have a habit of not observing etiquette, work etiquette, I mean. Here's an example. They buy a television, say 60-inch. The proper way, the etiquette for using that television, what is it? Is the user manual, which they should read to see how to adjust the settings, how to clean it, what materials can be used to clean it, what the power system is like. All these things, including how to maintain it, these constitute the proper way to use that TV. But that booklet, they either never take it out of the box, or they take it out and put it on the shelf and usually never touch it. Instead, they keep fiddling with the menus themselves, playing with them, engaging in various activities and interactions until they ultimately figure out precisely what they are truly supposed to do and how to proceed effectively. Whereas someone who lives in, say, a developed country, I've seen this, even when they buy socks, the socks have a label or a cardboard tag with symbols, say a triangle, a circle, and a number printed. They even check to see whether these socks can go in the washing machine, whether they can be ironed, whether they can be wrung out, and so on. Why? Because they believe the person who made those socks knows how those socks should be handled, how to use them, and under what conditions, and because they know the material. They've tested different conditions themselves, the manufacturer. But the former group doesn't. They don't care, like with the TV example I gave. They don't pay attention to what the manufacturer has recommended for cleaning that television. They just grab the same stuff they always do, a spray and, I don't know, a cloth, and do the job. Maybe it's right, maybe it isn't. Our point is that it's a maybe. This is a cultural issue, meaning that the former people are like this. There's a reason, because they think they know everything. They know it all. Ask for directions from someone on the street. They'll give you an address. You walk and then realize it wasn't that way at all. They should have told you the exact opposite direction. That's where you needed to go. They could easily have said, I don't know, I'm not from this area. But the words, I don't know, for them carry a very heavy weight. They feel a great loss of face. If they're asked something and they say, I don't know, they feel they've lost something, whereas that's not the case. Everyone, according to their expertise, the time they've invested, the effort they've made, knows some things and doesn't know others. That's completely natural. Look, we're not trying to fix the culture, and it isn't within our power to do that. Our aim is to observe healthy culture within the profession of our massage work. That's our sole objective. So if we're discussing professional etiquette, we do so that this cultural mistake that exists, this common customary mistake, doesn't get mixed into our work and our profession